I want to thank Greg for the opportunity to preach. It is so great to be in front of this non-hostile, but very loving environment. I'm very excited for this, so thank you, Greg. If you have any doubts to my excitement, ask Brittany, and she will attest to that. And Happy Mother's Day. So, that psalm that Lou just read, when I looked at the lectionary for this week, and I saw Psalm 97 on there, I was so excited. That is a favorite psalm of mine. The imagery is so powerful in it. I have this image in my mind of my sister and I, when we were in junior high, we were out on our lawn one night watching lightning, and this one lightning bolt struck. I mean, it probably wasn't that close, but it felt really close. It was like thunder, lightning, instantaneous, and when I closed my eyes for the next 15 minutes, I could see that bolt. And somehow we ended up inside. We were so terrified, we bolted inside instinctively. And that song gives us that image, the mountains melting like wax, lightning going out before the Lord. And that's just a glimpse of God's glory. And we're looking at the glory of the Lord today. So let's pray. Lord, be our teacher today. Help us to understand this text, this prayer, and help us to understand what it means for our lives. I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts would be acceptable in your sight. Help me to get out of the way. Lord, you are our rock, our strength, our glory, and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, we are looking at the 17th chapter of John today. This prayer, this is a prayer that comes right after Jesus' Thursday night discourse with the disciples, and right before he is betrayed. And he prays this prayer. There's three parts to the prayer. The first part, he prays for himself that he may be glorified. The second part, he prays for his disciples, those who've been with him in his earthly ministry. And then, we're looking at the third part of that prayer today, starting in verse 20. He prays for all believers. So let's take a look. My prayer, in verse 20, my prayer is not for them, that's the disciples alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message. Anyone who's believed the message of the disciples, that's us. This prayer is for us. This prayer is for Country Homes Christian Church. So we better pay attention. Verse 21, and that all of them may be one, Father, just as you are in me and I in you. May they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. I and them and you and me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Jesus has given us the glory that the Father gave him. It's easy to read over that and say, well, that's nice. But what does that mean? What glory? That's Psalm 97 glory, the clouds of thick darkness, mountains melting like wax, thunder, lightning, fire going out before it. That glory? What does that mean? Why does he give us this glory? We have to ask. Is it, I think they get a kick out of this. Well, obviously not. He gives us this glory. In verse 21, it tells us so that we may be one. That we may be one. One what? There's a few possibilities. It could be one with God. It could be one with ourselves. It could be one unified as a church. But these aren't really mutually exclusive, are they? In fact, they're cause and effect. Until we are one with God, we can't be one with ourselves. And until we are one with ourselves, we can't be one unified as a church. Okay, what do you mean, Tyler? Let's take a look. One with God. God is described in Psalm 97. Powerful imagery, right? Clouds, thick darkness, melting mountains. Can you stand in them? Can I? I don't think so. We're going to need some help. Here's what we're talking about. God is so holy. His glory is so great that if we tried to stand in his presence, we would be obliterated. Here's an image of that. If Brittany were not a human, but a flame of fire, it would be very difficult for me to hug Brittany, to hold Brittany's hand without being turned into a pile of ash. And God is so holy. In Eden, Adam and Eve walked together with God. But then in Exodus, Moses says, can I see your face? And God says, no one can see me and live. So we're going to need some help if we're going to be one with God, if we're going to enter his presence. All right, one with ourselves. What are we talking about? One with ourselves. In Deuteronomy, we hear the great, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one." And we are made in that God's image, which means that we are meant to be one. You may be looking at me and saying, Tyler, I feel like one. I mean, I'm all right here at church. But again, it's an example of what sin can do to corrupt this. We're pulled apart. Don't serve two masters. And yet we start serving money, we start serving success, we start serving anxiety, pride, all these things, and we're pulled in all kinds of directions. So we're not really one, are we? We're meant to be one, and as in our purpose, one purpose. To serve, love, obey, worship God. That's our one purpose. And the beauty of how God created us is that can manifest itself in different ways. One person might serve, worship, obey, love God as a missionary in Africa, and someone might do that as a missionary in the Spokane School District. But that is our one purpose. Finally, one with each other. Once we are one with God, and as we begin to fulfill that one purpose, and as the church, we all individually are serving one purpose, we're unified, one with each other. So, this oneness happens as a result of glory. So what is that glory? Let's keep reading. Verse 24. Father, I want those you have given me to be with me where I am, and to see my glory. The glory you have given me because you loved me before the creation of the world. I want to make a couple notes here. The word translated I want there is not a word for prayer. It's not a word for asking. He's not asking something of the Father. The word there is a word for a wish or a desire. This is a wish, a desire that Jesus has for us. I want my followers to do this. I wish they would do this. He's in communication with his Father. He's not asking his Father for something. He's saying, I wish the Country Homes Christian Church would do this. What is it? We better pay attention. Two parts. He says, one, be with him wherever he is. And two, that we will see his glory. And the word there is a fun word to say, so I'm going to say it. It rolls right off the tongue. The word for see there, see is a weak translation. It's theoreo. It's a fun one. You can practice saying that. And it literally doesn't mean see. There's lots of words for see. It means behold, or understand, examine, and in some cases it means experience. I want them to understand my glory. I want them to experience my glory, not just see it. So, how do we do that? And by the way, that word theoreo is where we get the word theory. So that gives you kind of an idea of what he's getting at. How do we do that? Well, let's take a step back. I've entitled my sermon today, The Weight of Glory. And some of you who are C.S. Lewis fans will notice that I have stolen that title from C.S. Lewis' great essay. Well, let me say he stole it from the ancient Hebrews first, so I think I'm okay. And here's what I'm talking about. In Jesus' time, there would be two kind of main views of glory. There's the Greek and Roman view of glory, which is sort of this weightlessness, ethereal. We've got the gods up in the clouds, gods on Mount Olympus. And the Jewish view, which is what Jesus would have had, most of his friends were Jewish, his family was Jewish. The Jewish view is heavy. It literally means heavy. It's the heavy things. And here's how I'll illustrate that. Imagine when you guys were building the prayer labyrinth, someone said, you know, I have a good idea. Let's not make it out of rocks. Feathers are really pretty. Let's make it out of feathers. That would be like the Greek version of glory. And so when Brittany and I showed up here in the fall, and Kathy Gossett says, hey, you should go check out our prayer labyrinth, we would have gone out there and been like, this lady, what is she thinking? There's nothing here. Because feathers fly away in the wind. But you build it with rocks, the things that remain. What is the glory in your life? What are the rocks in your life, the things that remain? Let's take a look at that. And so now you're saying, okay, Tyler, you told us that we need glory to be one. You told us that glory is something that lasts, but you still haven't defined what that glory is. So we're going to do that next. In his essay, Weight of Glory, C.S. Lewis rightly sums up the New Testament. There are two aspects of glory. And I'm going to briefly touch on the first one. I'm going to spend a little longer on the second one. Those two aspects are beauty and fame. Beauty. The beauty he's talking about is Jesus is transfigured on the mountain. Brilliant white. He's glorified for his disciples. In Revelation, we have the martyrs, the elders. They're wearing brilliant white robes. They have golden crowns tossing them beside the glassy sea. We have these images of beauty and brilliance. And that glory is the glory that helps us come before the Father. So that when we come before that flame, I gave the analogy of Brittany as a flame, we're not burned up, but instead we burn hotter, and we burn brighter when we come into the presence of the Father. And some of you maybe you're saying, well, what's the big deal with that? Try telling that to Moses. Moses says, this is the thing that I was denying. I wanted to look on the face, the glory of God, and I was denying it, and you guys get it. Okay. Second aspect. Glory as fame. You're looking at me and you're saying, okay, fame means being better known than other people, and that must be of hell, not of heaven, right? And that's exactly what C.S. Lewis says. But here's the thing, we all have an innate desire for fame. It starts from a young age. A child wants the approval of his mother, of his father. The inferior wants the approval of the superior. We see a dog wanting the approval of his master. Employees want the approval of their boss. A creature wants the approval of her creator. And that's what it's talking about. And this is all of the New Testament. It's in John. In John 5, Jesus says, you accept glory from one another, but do not seek the glory that comes from God. The glory that lasts is the glory that comes from God. Well done, good and faithful servant. But we corrupt this, don't we? There's two ways that we corrupt this. One, we start seeking approval. We start seeking glory from others, from our boss. And it's a feather, right? We just start desperately seeking approval and glory from our boss, from our spouse, from our children, from people at church. And that's where we seek approval. That's where we seek our glory from. And I'm not saying those are bad things to seek approval from, but they are good things to seek approval from, that we make the ultimate thing we're seeking approval from. And then what happens? Our boss fires us. Feather flies away. And our world comes crashing down. We lose a loved one. We lose a spouse. Feather. That's been your primary source of glory. And it flies away. And I'm not saying those things shouldn't have set us. They should have set us, but they shouldn't cause us to despair either, because our primary source of glory is a rock. The other thing, maybe you're saying, no, I don't do that. But do you do this? Oftentimes we seek glory, we seek approval from ourselves. It's hard for people to walk past a mirror without either pausing to admire or pausing to cringe. And it's just the fact of life. We're seeking approval from ourselves, our reputation, how people view us, and that's just, so we seek approval in those two ways. And that's a feather too, right? That's how people can become depressed. We seek approval, and we can't live up to those standards. Everywhere in our lives that we seek glory that isn't given from God, it's a feather. It's a rock. It's not a rock. Only the glory that comes from God is a rock. We need to know that we're loveworthy. We need to know that we're praiseworthy. It's an innate desire that God created us with. But we can't have that approval from God. What? You're looking at me and saying, Tyler, the sermon's almost over. Now you tell us we can't have that approval? But God says, don't be prideful, and we're prideful. God says, don't hold grudges, and we hold grudges. God says, don't judge your neighbor, and we're judging. How can God look on that and say, well done, good and faithful servant? But remember the prayer. The glory that you gave to me, I give to them. Jesus Christ prays this prayer. And a few hours later, he goes to the cross and he answers his own prayer. How? He takes that burden of sin in our lives, that burden of sin that keeps us, that inhibits our relationship, that inhibits our view of ourselves. He takes that burden of sin that weighs us down and he replaces it with the weight of glory. The heavy things. And that weight of glory is not a weight of glory that weighs us down. It's a weight of glory that we stand on as we come before the Father, and he looks at us and he says, well done, good and faithful servant. And we have that approval from the Father because it was given to us from Jesus Christ. And once we have that approval from the Father, we are one with God. We are one with ourselves. And by the way, that great Jewish greeting, shalom, it means peace, but that's not the whole aspect of the word. It's wellness, wholeness, oneness. And Jews greet each other. Are you shalom? Are you whole? Are you well? Are you one? One with God, one with ourselves, and then once we know that our approval comes from God and only from God, we won't be competitive with others. We won't be seeking the approval of others. Our purpose will be unified as we seek to serve, to love, obey the God who took that burden of sin from us and gave us the weight of glory, and that becomes our one purpose. And then we will have unity as a church. If you have been seeking approval from things at work or from spouses, and I'm not saying these are bad things, and I'm not saying affirmation is bad either. Affirmation is so important in the life of a church, in a marriage, in any relationship. But if that has been your source, if you've been seeking feathers and you want to seek a rock, and that doesn't sound very appetizing, but the rock, the heavy things, the things that last in your life, we invite you to come forward during our commitment hymn. Here I am.